Greetings and welcome to Growth Hacking Secrets. I'm your host Mohammed Siddique from Atlanta, Georgia, and the co-author of New Success Secrets available on Amazon. On this episode, we have a special guest, Valerie Trent. Valerie is the designer, entrepreneur, and author. Please join me to give a warm welcome to our guest, Valerie Trent. Valerie, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, Valerie, let me start with this. Where were you? What happened? Who you were surrounded with? That inspired you to become an entrepreneur and then the author, and then now you own a business and you're a podcast host, everything. So how you got started? What was the spark? Who inspired you?
How did I get started? Well, I think some of us are wired to be entrepreneurs. I was born an entrepreneur. I made a nonprofit company when I was in high school where we raised funds for inner city youth. And I have always been very entrepreneurial, making companies, selling whatever I could sell, and trying to optimize my surroundings. So, really, my entire life, I've been an entrepreneur. This particular venture, Lee London, started a little over 3 years ago. Well, the idea started even before that, but the company came to fruition a little over 3 years ago, and yeah, it's been a ride. It's been fun so far.
Mm. So you said you were almost like a born entrepreneur. It's not a doctor says, Valerie, you are an entrepreneur, So is it like your parents or somebody in your family you kind of look up to, got the inspiration from? How you got the inspiration to become an entrepreneur?
The company's name, Lee London, or to be
Your
inspired
own,
as an entrepreneur.
you are inspired as entrepreneur. Who was your inspiration from? Who is your role model in when you are becoming an entrepreneur in that time?
Well, nobody in my family is an entrepreneur. They definitely have long, stable careers at long, stable companies, um, and I am definitely the excitement for the family. I think you just know. I think that at some point in your life you realize that you're the captain of the ship and that it's your life and that you just need to stay true to your roots and jump and not be in maybe the corporate world like everybody around you. And so there wasn't necessarily one inspiration, but of course the big names, the Elon Musk, the Steve Jobs, the Sarah Blakeleys of the world have been great examples.
Mhm. Wonderful. So let's talk about some of your setbacks and mistakes you avoid, because I'm sure that journey has never been as smooth. It was like sometimes zigzag and back and forth, and you are probably not even a square one, you're a minus one, So that's a part of life of entrepreneurship. So what are your top three mistakes to avoid based on your experience when you are working on your own company to grow your company, or
Well, I think first and foremost, it's prioritizing time. As a sole founder, you tend to know your own strengths and limitations very quickly if you didn't already. And even if you did, they're highlighted when you're building a company because you need to be a generalist and need to know a little bit about finances and marketing and R&D and really all of business. And so prioritizing time. And there's certainly been hours or even days where I worked on a project or I was really in the trenches, trying to figure out accounting terms. What is amortization, right? And specifics when really, even if it's Googleable, to know more about that, when really it might have been better to outsource or there's ways now, with more experience to short circuit that time. So I think that that's always something that's on top of mind is those little mistakes that are they adding up or are they really adding to like the breadth of my own knowledge, which is also still important. Another mistake I would say is hiring interns and personnel teams and making sure that they are what you need them for and what their skills, what their past experiences matches up with what they want to do. A lot of times people come in and say, well, I'm a great writer. I'm a great communicator. But that's not necessarily what they want to grow into, and making sure that that's aligned is really important, and something that we've learned from. Yeah.
Mm. No, this is good. It's not only somebody is a great communicator or whatever they do great, but is this something that's what they're passionate about? Because once they're passionate, they will work way harder, and pull you together to the next level.
Yes, definitely.
So
Yes.
that's a great. I'm sure you did those mistakes, then you learned it the hard way. So we don't have to. We can learn from your mistakes. We don't have to pay the price for that. So thank you, Valerie, for I appreciate that. So while we are talking about mistakes, I like to share with us as an entrepreneur, we all have so many failures, lesson learned from us. So in our life,
Mm-hmm.
would you do you mind sharing the
one
most
one failure.
professional failure? What did you learn from it, and how did you recover from that? That's the key part. So we can learn from your
Uh-huh.
failure too.
Um, well, I'm as an entrepreneur, you don't really see, you don't, your perspective isn't quite, it's a failure. It's a big lesson learned.
Yeah.
And your company potentially pivots big time because of it. And we certainly have. I think one of the biggest, as you say, failures that stands out is, um, I'm a sole founder in hardware, and that we there's not very many of us, and jumping and just kind of learning cash flow and how does that work. Even though we had an idea, and very quickly, within a matter of months, engineered our products, designed them, patented them. I flew to China, sourced my manufacturer, came back, and within a matter of months from idea to market, our number one client, an international department store, was sending us POs. That was great, but then in retail, your cash flow is like a month to even 3 or 4 months behind, and
Yeah.
so we had spent so much of our budget, our initial budget, on R&D, and not preparing for that lag in marketing, cash flow and funding. And so it in on one hand you can say that's a failure. On the other hand, you can say, well, we got a phenomenal client and learned our lesson, and now we know much more how to budget for next time. Yeah.
Yeah, even having a Walmart as a client is not a blessing all the time, because your cash flow will be coming a year from now, sometime 18 months from now. So you got to plan for that one year. People don't know, they get excited the moment they get that big PO from big companies.
Mm-hmm.
They
Mm-hmm.
are going to use your product and use that cash flow for many, many months before they're going to pay you, devalue it to the max.
Yes, yes. You feel like you're notching up, right? Oh, our molds came out just right, our packaging came out right, or and then you get to market and you're so excited, and then you have zero funds to keep, or as much as you need to market. And so yeah,
you know
definitely a big lesson learned.
I'm so happy to see that you're laughing while you're sharing that failure with us. That means now you learn how to recover it. It won't happen it again. Thank you so much, Valerie. So
Mhm.
let's switch the side of the table. So let's talk about your success secrets. So you are a successful entrepreneur and you own leelondon.com, that your hardware business. So what are your top three success secrets to become who you are?
Well, I think there's really top three successful characteristics to be a successful entrepreneur. And I am still at the base of the mountain for sure. We've had lots of success with our large client, the one I spoke of before, and continue to sell to them quite a bit. Um, so that's exciting. I had an idea, and then a few years later, I've sold tens of thousands of units by myself, which is great.
Yeah.
But at the same time, so that's definitely a success. But there's those traits that really get you there. So, for instance, um, you have to be somewhat fearless, right? You have to, when a challenge occurs or something happens, you just forward, and it's not a setback. It's just okay, like here's a wall. How are we going to get over it?
Mm.
And I think that that is definitely a character trait that is a success of my own and fellow entrepreneurs and fellow teammates, that um, you're not discouraged or put down when something seems like it's a big um, boulder to get over, if you if you will. So um, that's happened definitely a couple times when we're pivoting, and right now we're completely pivoting our business structure, and it's because of some of those boulders, and we don't see it as a failure. We see it as a success, definitely, to move forward. And then another successful character trait that we have as a team is really focus. Is really, we understand the vision at the end, and we're all on board as to what does this company need to feel like, need to look like, what's our very specifically what we want at the end. And I think that it takes a team that all understands that goal very, very pronounced and specific, and to work together and to forge ahead, and not to be distracted by other opportunities, or um, really to ignore any distractions. And so that focus, I think, is a great
Laser
way to
focus.
success.
Laser focus, huh? Yes, laser focus. You only look at
Laser
ahead.
focus. Yes.
So
Yes. Very important.
because distractions will slow you down. Sometimes you lose a focus. That's why you don't achieve it in the well-defined time. Then say this doesn't work anymore.
Exactly.
Wonderful. How the people who are watching this right now or in the future, how they can support you, how they can support leelondon.com.
Well, they can go to our website. That's leelondon.com. And read our blogs, learn about our new products that are coming to market every day. And then also find us on Twitter, Instagram, or Pinterest. We're Lee London, or at Lee London Co., or at Lee London Design on Instagram. So check us out, follow us, watch us grow.
Yeah, wonderful. So Lee London, how this idea name came from? You are in Chicago. Lee London, London is not in Chicago. I
It's
know
not
that's
in London.
London is in UK. So how this name came from?
That's right. Well, London is a very international name because of the city, and it's really the name of the ideal customer that we have, and a very international young woman, really. And but you can't trademark London, the word London. You can't buy London.com. That domain was outside of our startup scrappy budget. Lee is a family name, and it works very well with London, and it evokes the kind of feeling, the kind of brand that we're looking for. So
Wonderful. Lee London, if you're just listening, Lee London, I don't need to spell it. You probably know already. LONDN.com.
yeah, and there's a neighborhood in London called Lee. So if you're in Lee, London, follow us as well.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much. Lee London is very easy name to remember. It's a very brandable name. So Valerie Trent, so thank you so much being a guest on the show, and we appreciate it. I like to have a quick review or testimonial for the show. What would you say as a best friend to your best friend about growth hacking secret show which you are on right now when I'm not there in web sense?
So what would you say to your best friend about growth hacking secrets, right?
Growth hacking secret show.
Oh, I think it's great. I think that it's a lot of great information, a lot of great stories, and very personable, which is nice. Get know your founders and how they hack their growth, um, like on a one-on-one basis, and in a very personal way.
Mhm. Thank you so much for your kind words. Really appreciate it. What would you say as a final word?
Thank you so much. This has been great, and I love following y'all. And we look forward to growing together, right?
Yeah,
The coming days, weeks, and years.
absolutely, absolutely. My final word is go check this leelondon.com. I did check it before even I shared with you. Okay, so you better owe it to yourself to check this leelondon.com. and see what Valerie Trent is up to, and and follow her on social media, stalk her wherever. Okay,
Mhm.
watch carefully, engage, and ask questions. That's the key part, so you can help each other. So thank you so much, Valerie Trent, for sharing your wisdom with us today. On behalf of Growth Hacking Secrets community and our entire team, we really appreciate you. This is Mohammed Siddique signing off from Atlanta, Georgia. Until the next episode, all good wishes.